Right, welcome everybody to the new edition of The North Face University. Today we got something really special coming up for you. For those of you who have followed the brand for multiple years, you may have noticed that we completely stepped away from mountaineering footwear. So why is that? Yeah, we basically turned 180 degrees and restructured this whole category. And yeah, what came out of this is truly unbelievable. So today we will show you this new range, this incredible, innovative category that we're now bringing back to the collection. It really is the next step in mountaineering. So for faster ascents, lighter and further pushes, and of course, as you probably expected, it's under the badge of Summit Series. So today, it is about Summit Series footwear, because mountaineering is evolving, and so we are. So we changed this whole category, and now came up with a really innovative and great concept. Before we're going to go starting with it, let me introduce myself to you. So I'm Konstantin, responsible for brand education at The North Face, and yeah, we'll lead you to the session through the session today. And we have some really interesting guests coming up. So yeah, stay with us, and we really want to have this as an interactive session. So in case if you get any questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll try to answer them during the session, if not afterwards. All right, let's get started.
Let's just skip ahead, Constantine. We're going to skip the video, so click to the next slide and come back on. You have his mic on? Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So we didn't have sound for this video. For the next one, we're definitely going to have. So it is about Summit Series footwear. So what is it all about? Today, we got an agenda full of really great guests and talks. First of all, we're going to introduce you to the concept of the Summit Series footwear. Then we go into the details of the range, so you will see all the models, really see the features, see the benefits, understand the playground. Afterwards, we check a bit out like what you can expect in terms of marketing and brand education, before we then have a special guest today with a speaker series. And then, in case if we couldn't answer the questions during the meeting, we're also going to have a short Q&A. Right, and today we are at a really special place. We are not in the North Face showroom. We are here at the All Triangles agency, which is basically responsible for the development of our mountaineering footwear range. And yeah, as the most important guest for today, I got François with me, so please come on the stage, and yeah, welcome everybody, François.
Hello everybody. So I'm François, working at All Triangles Agency. So we are here based in our location in Annecy, France, close to the Alps, close to the lake. We are in charge of the footwear innovation for the North Face. So you've seen probably Pierre on Vective. Now we are talking climbing, mountaineering. What we do is mostly working with athletes, provide them good prototypes, good solutions, and then we try to implement them into concept for the North Face brand. So we are in charge of service to athletes, innovation, prototyping, and what we see now, it's the final step of the Summit Series collections.
All right, so before we going into the concept, before we going into the shoes, let's have a look at the concept. So when developing this whole range, so what ideas had been behind that?
Yeah, so what we do as the agency is to listen clearly to the community, the guys that are hanging around, the mountain guys, the athletes, also the North Face athletes. And so we try to map 6 different trends that we see out in the market. They are not really new. The first one you've seen this summer, it's the ever-changing playground. So it's pretty devastating what we see now in the Alps. Glaciers are melting, temperature are rising, and the seasonality of mountaineering is really changing. Meaning we don't start the day the same way we used to start it. Maybe the timing is different, maybe the route has changed, maybe the time we spend in the mountain is different. So it's really something that we took into consideration because the usage of mountaineering really changed. Then it's new stuff happening in products. Products are lighter, products are faster. The guys, they are running, they are training, they are more fast, more agile. So we have to take this into consideration. The pace of mountaineering has really evolved, and we have to take this into consideration. Then we worked for the North Face. It's an apparel super famous brand. And what we see in apparel is the layering system for the apparel side, which is allowing the athletes to adapt the kit and the gear to the condition, to the weather, to the pace, etc. While in footwear, we always have to carry the heaviest boots in case there will be cold condition, technical terrain. So we are always geared up for the most extreme part, while 80% of the day, it's not what we need in terms of feature for the footwear. Then we looked at competition range, the way they organize themselves. And here it's super simple. It's ranged by altitude, meaning the Alps altitude, 3,000 for trekking, 4,000 for mountaineering, 6,000 for insulated boots, and 8,000 for high altitude mountaineering. Today, starting from scratch, it's super interesting for us to rethink a little bit. Maybe some athletes running at 6,000 meters won't have the same needs as the clients on the Mont Blanc, hiking super slowly at less than 4,000 meters. So we say maybe we can reorganize the range in a different way and try to step a little bit aside from the competition. And the last point is something super interesting is working with the North Face is one of the only brands out in the market that is able to bridge what's happening in the core city and what's happening in the core city inside the mountains. So we try to play a little bit with 2 different codes, what's happening on the streets and what's happening in the high altitude. And there will be some interesting stuff that we want to show you in terms of design DNA.
Cool. So when we consider all of those ideas, in the end, like what are really the innovations that they are bringing to the range in this case?
So there are 3 different pillars that we want to bring to the North Face. First of all, it's an apparel brand, so we want to step aside in terms of competition with the fabrics, with the material. Here we play with Spectra yarn and we play with Futurelight. Those 2 complexes bring a super light package that is allowing us to go to the second pillar, which is weight. So the goal of the range is always to be at what is the lightest possible in the mountain. We are really confident that athletes, guides, and alpinists in the mountain, they need the lightest solution that they can on their feet. This will allow them to move freely. This will allow them to be lighter, more agile, more comfortable, and in the end of the day, less tired. And the last one is the modularity. So as I was explaining, reorganizing the range allows us to play different solutions with different terrain, different pace, but this I will come back later on it.
Okay. Yeah, I think especially the modularity piece is super interesting. So stay with us because this is definitely going to be something really special for you guys. Now we are talking about Summit Series, and Summit Series got the slogan athlete tested, expedition proven. I've been here in the agency a few times, and I know that you always worked a lot with athletes. So how did it came out here in this range? Oh, sorry. This comes one afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, so the athletes part will come. Yeah,
sorry. Okay, first, please tell us a bit more about the 4 shoes that are coming out of those innovations.
Yeah, so the idea was to really reimagine the kit of the athletes, the kit of the guy that they should have in their closet. So just need 4 products, and pretty much everything is covered in mountaineering today on the market. And this is the listening we got from the athlete. This is what we got from the stores. It's what we got from a lot of different people. So today we try to bring one super nice solution in one different pillar. Is it both for technical mountaineering, classic mountaineering, alpine trekking, and approach? So those 4 products, or those 4 concepts, they will emphasize the best solution for each pillar. So we have the Torre Jaeger, we have the Kayesh, we have the Brighton, and we have the Crackstone Pro.
Cool, and we're gonna check it out really closely in a couple of minutes. But before that, as I asked before already, we want to talk about athletes. So how do you work together with the athletes on that range?
Yeah, so the athletes are really the starting point of the work we did in 2019. So welcoming David Guttler, Javier Barmase, Mikey Arnold, and more into the room, and discussing with them what would be their best solution for mountaineering. So we started prototyping some super ugly and non-functioning stuff. Then it pretty much evolved by prototyping here in the lab, providing them solutions that we've been able to test with them on the field. So on the slide, the picture, you see a session we made in Courmayeur in Italy, bringing some feedbacks on the product. So it was a long time process, a lot of prototypes, a lot of different options, stuff that didn't work, stuff that works now is super good. And so we are super thankful for the super nice insight we got from those 2 amazing athletes, Hervé Barmase and David Guttler. A lot of experience, a lot of good feeling on the feet and on the terrain.
You also work with a few athletes around here. Who else had been part of this great
Yeah, so inside the agency we have a super nice pool of athletes, local athletes. So they are young mountain guides, young alpinists, doing sports in a different way, pushing a little bit the boundaries of the sport. So we always like to map what athletes need and what those crazy young kids they do around Chamonix, what they do around the Alps, and try to bring also some nice new stuff coming from the ground. And by mixing everything else, we have now a super nice solution.
Cool. But I think next to the people on the ground over here and in Chamonix, one specific test stood out. So one really expedition-proven test this year stood out. So let's hear a bit about that.
Yeah, it's the final expedition we've been working for is for David Guttler that wanted to go to the summit of Everest. And here we really wanted to explain to the company, to the North Face, and to the athlete that the kit that we built can go from the Alps to the summit of Everest with different layering options and different solutions. So the kit you've seen on the screen, on the internet maybe, is a mix of different items. First, David is using electric socks, so it's something we really believe in, and we are super happy that he's one of the athletes pushing and trusting this system. Then we go to the footwear side, where we built for him a warm liner with Primal Oftenit that he's putting inside a shell. The shell is pretty much the one that you've seen on the shop. We made some custom solution for him, maybe a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit customized solution, but overall it's the same shoe. And on top of that, he's using an external Primalove gaiter that is super insulated, that he's using only on the top part of the mountain. So what he said was maybe above 7,000 meters when it was really cold and that he needed the extra layer. What is cool for him is that it allows him to have a super light kit that he can really manage both insulation and weight all along the ascent.
Nice. All right. Let's move directly to this boot. So we heard what David Guttler used to do with it. So now let's check it out in detail on what makes it so special. But first, and now we try it again, if the video this time works.
This is the Torre Jaeger.
Torre Jaeger is made for the north face of the mountain. Highly technical, winter routes and cold conditions.
Here it's the first time that we'll offer a boot with 2 different liners. One will bring more insulation for the colder temperature. One will be spaced mesh for breathability and comfort.
I can go from hiking to really technical climbs with one boot and can adjust the temperature range depending on what I need.
The Tiger Print is the purest expression of what we are seeing in streetwear.
We use Spectra and Futurelight technology.
A waterproof breathable membrane.
the BOA fit system for a quick and easy adjustment in action.
I have now with the Torre Egger a boot which I can use from here in the Alps to my 8,000 meter expedition.
All right, so now we've seen the video, we've seen what the boot is about, but can you explain once more like what we really want to solve, which problem in this case, and how we then do it?
Yeah, so one of the main feedbacks we had from the community, from the athletes, is that today on the market, the products, they are no longer adapted to the classic or progressive mountaineering. Today, what's happening with the climate and with the pace of the guys is bringing you a big issue is that you have to buy one product, but this product will be way too warm, way too heavy, and way too technical for most of the time. So what you do, obviously, is to buy 2 or 3 different pairs of shoes and try to adapt, depending on the condition, your pace, etc. You try to adapt the shoe on your closet. What we wanted to solve is to bring a solution that will go a little bit forward, and with one single product, bring an adaptive kit that will be the best solution that you can choose at home for the temperature, the technical terrain or not, and your pace. So this is the brief and the solution of the Torre Egger, what the main benefit is on this shoe, and I will explain you how we achieve this. So this is the shoe that I have in my hand, so the Torre Egger. What we wanted to achieve is to bring the volume, the weight of a single boot, but with the benefit of a double boot. So here from the external side, you only see a classic single boot mountaineering. It's a high technical mountaineering boot, compatible with automatic crampons, so the one with the metal bar on the front, so that you have really rigid bar and that you can really be precise when ice climbing or mountaineering. And then what we are playing on the upper is to add the benefit of the materials I was explaining. So on the upper, you will find the rubber toe cap here. This is classic for footwear mountaineering. And on the gaiter, you will find this material we've worked together with the Spectra yarn and the Futurelight fabrics. So it brings a super light, breathable, and waterproof membrane that is also super resistant to abrasion. So the white yarn that you see on the gaiter is the Spectra, and is the one bringing the good resistance to crampons, rock, and the harsh condition you will find in the mountain. We placed the waterproof zipper in the lateral side, so you have super nice mobility on the front part. And then I will go inside the boot to show you how it's built. So one also aspect we heard from the athletes is that being locked in the ankle was super pain for them. So we wanted to bridge this gap and bring something super low. So today it's not a classic mid-cut construction. It's a low-cut construction with a strap that has foam and good shape on it. So you have still the good lock you need on the ankle. But you find a little bit this mobility, this agility that you can have on the ankle that will allow you to climb at your maximum level. For the tightening system, we play with the BOA, so you've seen on the video. It's a 3 flaps construction that will wrap the foot in a very secure way. Also, the heel lock is really worked both by the strap and the BOA. So this is mainly how the boot is built. And inside, we have this liner. So I was talking about double boot. Double boot means that you can remove the liner from the boots. So this brings a lot of benefits. So first of all, it's allowing the foot to be way warmer. So here I have the warm liner on it. But also when you arrive at the camp, when you arrive at the refuge, you can remove it, dry it, walk on it. So it's a lot of benefits. But today on the market, the double boot, they are super heavy, super high volume. So we wanted to achieve the volume, the weight in a single boot, but with the double boot effect. And then we went a little bit further. We said, okay, why not play with a second liner option? So that's what we done on the Torre Egger. So the boot will be delivered with 2 different liners. One that is super warm, so with a complex made out of merino, wool, aluminum that is super warm and super comfortable. And we are adding a second liner, playing with different nice materials, so you have the same volume and the same compression factor, but in a super open mesh that is very breathable for warmer condition. So today the boot will come with the 2 options, and at home you can choose, depending on the condition or if you're going to be fast or slow the wind, the snow, etc., then you choose the solution, and it's expanding the range of the product. We also add 2 different insoles, so 1 millimeter and 3 millimeters, so everybody can adjust the volume in it. They are both insulated with a nice complex of wool and aluminum, and you will be able to choose according to your anatomy or to the condition if you want to be snug fit or if you want to have a wider fit.
All right, and how does the lowest section of the whole thing look out?
Yeah, so for the bottom unit, here we play with the carbon plate. So the carbon plate is bringing the rigidity of the shoe that you need. Then it's a classic complex of EVA and the heel clip and the toe clip that I've shown that works together with the crampon attachment points. And for the grip, here we went with the leader of the market. We went with Vibram outsole. We worked with them a nice Lux design that is the proprietary of the North Face. And we are using the light base technology that is having a super nice light base all around the shoe. So you have a little weight of the outsole, and the rubber compound is the mount. So the one that most of the market is using for cold condition, grip, and rock climbing, etc.
Nice. So here, I really invite you all to check out this graphic, because whenever you get questions also during a sales talk and you're not really comfortable about like the section that's underneath the foot, check out this graphic. You will find it in the Explorer tech support, and I will get to that a bit later as well.
We have a question about weight.
Yeah.
That will
it's on the next slide.
That will come up on the next slide anyway, so perfect.
Yeah, so this is just how to close on the playground. So this boot, as you understood, is designed for high technical climbing with high technical crampons. So we designed it for maybe the higher North Face in winter, but it can really expand in a lot of different environments where you will be front pointing, climbing on steep faces, high technical routes, either on summer or winter.
All right, and because of the question with the weight, bear with us a bit, because I just realized that the slide and the topic will come up after the next shoe. So 5 minutes and then you will get it. All right, let's move to the Kayesh.
Okay, so then we get a little bit down the mountains, and we want with the Kayesh to bring a solution for the mountain guides and the guys that are spending their whole summer in the mountains, not having super heavy boot, having something super comfortable. So today with the Kayesh, we are bringing the first low-cut solution in mountaineering. So we still have a rigid outsole. We still have the crampons ability. It's a shoe that can climb really good. But we are playing with a low-cut construction to allow the ankle to move freely and to have super nice comfort during the day. So this shoe is really light. And with the low-cut construction, it's something that you barely feel on your feet. So for the upper, same idea. Here we play a lot with the Spectra and Futurelight material. So you'll see it's the major part of the gaiter. We played also the lateral zipper. That's the classic now execution we are playing on the range to allow the free movement of the ankle. And here you see the basic climbing features. So the heel clip. This one won't be matching a toe clip. So this one will work only with semi-automatic crampons. So meaning on the front, you will have to use the basket. It's a solution that most of the athletes are using right now. It's a solution that is super safe and super comfortable, but not having the toe clip here that is removing a bit of feeling when climbing. If I open it, so here it's the same idea. You will see the low-cut construction. So here we play with the tongue and the 3 flaps construction of the boa. So same idea, the boa is protected by the gaiter inside the shoe. So it's really the classic construction, but super nice feeling. And here you will have no issue on the heel hook because we worked a bit the heel shape, and the boa tightening system is very powerful. So that's everything that's on the inside. It's a low profile shoe. And for the weight of this one, it's around 575 grams. In terms of bottom units, so it's pretty much the same idea of construction. We stick with the carbon plate for the rigidity, Then we add 2 different layers of midsole foam, so it's EVA foam. And for the outsole, here we go a little bit low profile, so the lugs are smaller, the weight is decreased, still the light-based Vibram technology and the Mont climbing compound. But here we are really close to the ground, more feeling, still the climbing zone for the technical part. So it's really a shoe that can go all along for your summer activities.
All right, and now we finally get the answer for the weight question. So sorry for keeping you waiting, but here we now got both of the mountaineering boots on one slide.
Yeah, so here we wanted to map a little bit against the competition. So it's not a super complete slide, but here for the Toray Eger, you see that we are playing on the single boot market in terms of pricing and weight. So we are pretty much at the weight of the lightest boot here on the segment of the market. So 100 grams for the liner, and the boot falls around 670 grams. So we have something very light on the lightest spectrum of the market, but with all the advantages I was explaining on the double boot. So we are super far from the weight and the volume of a double boot. So we are really competing with a nice weapon in the market, both in terms of weight, climbing abilities, and features as a double boot.
So quick question here about the liners. There seems to be some confusion. They're asking if the liners come with both the Kayesh and the Toray Eger. So you might just want to clarify that.
No, so the double boot is only the Toray Eger. So 2 liners are going only into the shell of the Toray Eger. This is one solution. This is the shoe that you can buy to pretty much do everything on the high end of technical mountaineering, while the Kayesh is coming along as a single boot, classic boot, working just as it is now without the liners that you can use all day long in the mountains on different types of conditions.
Okay, we got another question. Compared to La Sportiva and to the Scarpa, why we choose to not have mid-high support on the Kayesh?
Yeah, so it's all coming from the target that we have.
Restate the question a little bit.
Okay, sorry. So the question is why instead of La Sportiva and Scarpa, are we playing with a low-cut construction? So today, it's all matter of the target that we have. So today, the guys who are listening, the athletes, the mountain guy, whilst they are trying this one, they are not coming back to a classic construction, meaning the comfort they have, the agility they have while climbing, the less tiring they feel at the end of the day, means we are now super comfortable to say that this solution will replace step by step for high-end athletes this solution. So it's not a solution for everyone, that's for sure, you need the ankle, but now the guys, they are running, they are training a little bit, so the ankle, they are super strong. So it's a solution that will be inside mountaineering, super good for athletes, guide, etc. And on more classic, easy routes, easy for glacier crossing, when you will never use the front pointing, you will never climb super steep stuff, it will match 80% of the classic routes that you can do in the Alps.
Maybe on that one, also just one concluding slide. So just on like the difference in between the boots. So we said the Toray Eger is designed for the Eiger North Face in winter, and now the Kayesh basically for the Matterhorn in summer. So maybe you want to go into like what's the difference in terms of usage of those two?
Yeah, so this boot is not insulated, so it's not made for super cold condition, although it can be used, and all the testing we've made is made also in the Alps in the estival season, so when the most of the practice is happening. But then with this shoe, you can do a lot of technical ridges, vertical climb, alpine climbs, glacier crossing, etc. It can also go down to Via Ferrata, a lot of technical stuff when you don't need a big, heavy mountaineering boot. So having this light solution with the gator protection means you can play in a lot of different solutions. It's the most versatile shoe of the range today.
All right, and Toray Eger is then as soon as like autumn drops, it gets colder, or you going to colder conditions?
Yeah, or higher, super technical, yeah.
All right, perfect. So this was the Toray Eger and the Kayesh, and now we're going a bit down the mountain. So the next is the Summit Series Brighthorn. So what's about this one?
Yeah, so for the Brighthorn here, the idea is to take the exact same bottom unit as the Kayesh. So this is the solution that we chose. We just replaced the carbon by nylon because we wanted a little bit more flex on the shoe. So here we get a little bit down the mountain. The target is alpine trekking, but you can also use the crampons. You can also use the semi-auto crampons only. So it's a shoe that's more versatile, that can be used in a wider range. Here the target is also to have all the benefits, the low profile construction, the Vibram outsole, and the Cropons compatibility to play in a wide range of material, of practice. So in terms of materials, you've seen pretty much stuff that you recognize. So the rubber band is a classic for mountaineering. The ripstop here is also super nice fabric that is super resistant. We play with classic lace, to-the-toe lacing system. So here you get used to it. It's not something super new. We play with a nice neoprene collar for anti-debris and keeping the warmth inside the boots. It's full waterproof thanks to the Futurelight membrane. And it's still a very light solution, still very comfortable solution. So here the brief is to go alpine trekking, but also technical via ferrata, technical approach, glacier crossing. It's a super versatile shoe that can go in a super wide range of terrain.
All right, and now, I mean, with the Brighton, we probably get the most commercial one and the one that you on the shop floor will be most familiar with. But after the Torreega and the Kayesh, we have a third really special shoe coming up, and this is the Crackstone. So what really is the special and what was behind developing the Crackstone?
Yeah, so the Crackstone is coming from two different points of view. The first one is it's a shoe that they have on their quiver. It's a very light solution that they can bring for the approach, then put on the backpacks and switch to one of those climbing boots. It's helping them having more freedom of movement, light solution on the foot, and keeping the energy for the ascent. And the second one is that we really see some stuff happening in the market, is this bridge in between the stuff inspired from summits, so from the high mountains for the climbing, and the trail running that is really infused into a lot of products, a lot of practice today for mountaineers. So we truly believe that it can be a nice solution for multifunction, really at the merging cross of both mountaineering and trail running. Meaning what we are doing is adding a lot of features from trail running and mixing them with climbing abilities. This is what we took as a practice, as an example. It's called scrambling today. Scrambling, it's really in between the hiking and the climbing. You will use both your hands and your foot on steep terrain, but not so steep so that you don't need the ropes and all the climbing equipment. So we have to make this shoe really ready for climbing. For that, we need two different stuff. We need a fit that is really close to the feet. We need the BOA to really secure the heel, to really secure the front part. And we need something really light, really agile that can climb thanks to the outsole. So today, what you will recognize is a single layered mesh, very durable, but also open. So you can breathe really, you can dry when you're wet. So we didn't choose a waterproof solution. It's really the weight and the agility that we want first and foremost. And then it's a classic shoe construction with the BOA 3 flaps that we are playing all around the range that is really wrapping and really securing the foot here. Then you find classic approach, so the loop to attach on your harness and all the nice features. The midsole is inspired from the EVA that we use on trail running, so it's something very resilient that you can really have a good dynamism from. And the TPU part here is protecting the shoe when you will climb on the most abrasive part of the rock.
All right, and I know that a lot of people are asking for, because we stated as like approach and scrambling shoe, so why didn't we attach a climbing zone to the base?
Yeah, so today the climbing zone, as we understand it in the high technical, it's made for stiff sole. So with the edging, you put the climbing zone on the edge and you trust the rigidity of the shoe. Here, as we are super soft, we get rid of the climbing zone because we wanted the maximum surface, maximum deformation of the outsole, so that you have always the maximum rubber surface placed on the rock. It's a solution that is coming more and more, and we see no differences in terms of grip and adherence with or without the climbing zone on these soft midsole shoes.
Right, and now, I mean, it's a pretty niche product, but still really upcoming. So what like competition do you see on the market, or also like how does it compare to other products?
Yeah, so here the goal is really to place the North Face back into the high technical footwear solution. So we really directly want to compete the high technical brands out in the market with a solution that is lighter, way more maybe niche, but that will be the best solution out for guides, athletes, and high technical people in the mountains. So we want the shoe to be lighter than the competition, still climb as good, and have the good durability that's needed on this harsh terrain.
All right. Thanks, Francois.
Thank you.
So we will have Francois back with in the Q&A session. So in case you just realized that you want to know some more stuff from him, just write your question to the chat later on. First, I now want to give you a bit of an idea on what's happening in terms of marketing. So the products are arriving on the shop floor right now, pretty much. And we will have a soft launch in the next few days where they're available online or in your store. And then we'll have a more direct marketing campaign coming up mid-October. So here you can already see how this is gonna unfold on our own e-com. So have a look. Also, if you're gonna be on the shop floor and you want to quickly search for information, we have a super technical and really informative page coming up, really with great athlete pictures. We had some amazing photo shoots going into like really the concept of all 4 shoes. So you can explore that. You can also direct customers or other people you're training to that page, which is a really easy factor to use. On the screen you see like the video how it's unfold. It's a combination of pictures, of descriptions, but also, of course, of the videos. All right, and one other thing next to our marketing presentation, or like how we approach the market, is our training materials. And this really is for all of you. So for all our store staff, for everyone who's doing trainings in store, or maybe representing our brand as ambassadors. And this is the Explorer Tech Support. This was sent out a month ago in English, and yesterday in 6 more languages. It's a really huge PDF, an interactive PDF, so you can exit it through a link. So it's easily used on a laptop, on your mobile device, or on an iPad on the shop floor. And you will find all the information that we covered today in the university. You will also cover in there. You get videos, you get great information through the text. You get an interview with David Göttler and more. So please use that tool and spread it to whoever would need it on the shop floor or as trainers and so on. Also keep in mind that this range will stay as carryovers for multiple seasons. So you can really save that tool and come back to it if you maybe have forgotten something in half a year or something like that. All right, and that's it about basically the marketing. And now we get a bit of a surprise for you, because we actually digitally flew in David Göttler from Spain, who will now have a little speaker series about his experience with the shoes, but much more importantly about his last expedition. So now I hope that it works and we can bring David Göttler onto the screen for all of you. Cool.
Hi, Konsti, and hello and big welcome from my side to everybody here. It's amazing how many people are joining here to this academy. Really good. And I want to kind of give you my perspective on how this kind of Torre Egger boot mainly came to life. And Francois did a great job explaining the shoe in all its detail, but what he didn't explain and told you was that when we started this project, I was really a strong believer in terms of that it can't be achieved to have a light, so kind of technical and direct shoe with this double liner construction. So I was like, no way, we can't do this. They get always super big volume and you go like with moon boots around and it's not nice from the performance. So the first Torre Egas, if you want to say so, they were single liner boots. And then at one point, suddenly Francois and his team, they showed us this double liner construction. And when you didn't open the zipper, we even couldn't imagine there is a liner boot inside. And once we discovered that, we were like, oh my gosh, this is really good. This is like an amazing tool we suddenly had on our feet and can play around, because of course, a double liner solution makes for me, or makes my life in the mountains so much easier, because I can, like Francois said, I can try it. I can, like, I arrive in the camp, I can take it out with the two different inner boots. I can adjust to the temperature outside, and still I have like not this clunky 6,000 and 8,000 meter shoe on my feet, which normally I connected to a double liner construction. So I think that is something which really you need to keep in mind. And I play now many winters and summers with this Torre Ega boot mainly, and it really performs like a normal Alp kind of temperature range technical mountaineering boot, but you have all the benefits of this liner construction. And that was for me also why I always wanted it to take it to my expeditions. And here I want to show you now a little bit from my latest adventure out there, when in the third attempt, I kind of tried to tackle Everest without oxygen, without the Sherpa. This means I carried everything by myself. Still, I used the infrastructure in the mountain in terms of fixed ropes and the ladders, for example, here in the icefall. But that was the only thing I used from the other expeditions, if you want to say so. And for me here, the huge benefit I had with the Torre Ega was that in the lower part, from base camp to camp 2, 6,400 meters, I could always go without this overgaiter. And I can really, like, I always pass these people in their 8,000 meter boots, and they walk in this clunky style, and you just kind of, yeah, like zoom by more or less, because you have this really agile, nice walking, comfortable shoe on your feet. And then when I arrive in like 7,000, 8,000 meters in that range, then I put this overgaiter in and continues my glide. The overgaiter I put over the Torre Ega. So I'm now with the Torre Ega in this overgaiter. You will see on the next slide a little bit better. And this here is just below the last camp, and you see above my head the Everest kind of looming out of the clouds. And it's really, it kind of is mind-blowing how big Everest is when you're already more or less at 8,000 meters, which I'm here at. And you kind of, you really need to get everything kind of together and kind of say like, okay, we concentrate on the next steps, because this looks just so big. It's almost another 1,000 meter when you're arriving at 8,000 meter, because it's 8,848 meters high, this beast of a mountain. And so I always really, on this specific point of the route, this is the Geneva Sport just before the last camp, I really always have to kind of this little bit kind of like gulp in my, and the kind of a knot in my throat, and kind of, okay, let's keep it just like the step-by-step kind of approach. And I arrived at my summit attempt in the last camp at almost 8,000 meters. I put up my small tent here. I had my full AMK kit with me. I left the sleeping bag lower down because I just knew I wanted to rest a little bit here in that camp. I don't want to sleep here and then continue. And here you see now the over boot or the gaiter, the insulated with Francois before I told you really well. So I'm with my normal Torre Ega boot, which you have in the shops inside this gaiter. And that means that I have still the whole experience of this boot, but I now at 8,000 meter or higher and have the insulation outside, where I have anyway the volume, where I don't have to kind of crank it down and compress the insulation, it needs the loft. So still from my walking experience, I walk like in a Torre Egger. So I rested here a little bit and then I started. And the first part was for me the scariest in terms of footwear, if you want to say so, or hands, or temperature. It comes down to temperature, because I started at 9:30 in the evening and I knew I had the entire night in front of me. And that means this is the coldest part of my ascent. And I know if here something goes wrong, and this is often overseen, that the footwear is such a crucial part, because if the footwear fails in terms of comfort and even more of temperature, you just have to turn around, or you risk to have really frostbites, which you don't want to have, or at least I don't want to have. And so this was really for me a part of my ascent where I'm like, okay, I really hope this kind of idea we all spun over for years and we tested, but we never tested it to this height. So, and on that mountain. And so now I was kind of, okay, hopefully that works. I walked through the night and I realized with every hour that actually my feet are feeling really nice and warm. And I only had to put my electric heating socks to the middle setting. So I don't even had to put it like all up. And I was really feeling very comfortable, warm with it. And this gave me a huge confident boot that I can just continue and slowly make my way up there. And of course, then when the sun comes out and you realize how high you already are, and this is just at the south summit, this is 8,750 meters here now. And then you have the summit ridge in front of you, the famous or infamous Hillary Step, and then the summit in the far distance here. You realize, okay, now the sun is on my side, it helps me. I realized the weather was really holding up nicely, was good. There was almost no wind, and it was warm, it was calm. But the craziest thing for me was at that point that I realized there is nobody on this summit ridge. From the south summit to the main summit, there is nobody. There were just two more people coming towards me. They were going down. There were always oxygen. I was there. The mask you see, by the way, is just like a Buff 2.0, makes this small room in front of your mouth and nose, and you can just breathe through this white filter in front of it. It comes from the Nordic countries where they have to breathe in cold and very dry temperatures and train hard up there. So I use this for my expedition. It makes a huge difference that you don't get this altitude curve, and you really do good to your lungs. And so I continued, and I never had this feeling of being in such a flow up there on an 8,000 meter peak. I don't put it only to the thin air. It was really, I think, mainly because I was alone on this mountain, where you normally see queues of people in this area here lining up, these famous pictures like going around the world, where here it's so crowded, and I was alone there. This was due to that this year the weather window started really early, becoming very good, and a lot of these big expeditions, they were already gone. So I was quite late to the game, but I needed this. I couldn't risk to stand up here for 2 hours, sometimes what the people do in a line, and were not able to move up and down. So now I slowly just believed I can make it, and you can't imagine how slow you move up there. It's really like you do 3 steps, then you have to break, and you have to find your breath, then you make a break, and you breathe, and then you have to motivate yourself. Okay, come on, now we do another 3 steps. This was my self-talk I did up there for hours, literally. And I always checked with myself, kind of, hey, legs, how you feel? You still have power to go not only up, but mainly to get down here, because I knew this will be the equally difficult part of it, to get down. So with all these kind of conversation with myself, I slowly, just step by step, came closer, and then finally made it to the highest point we have on our planet on 21st of May at around like 9:45. It took me 12 hours, 20 minutes from the last camp to get up there, which is insane because in the end it's like a climbing rate of 85 meters per hour, which is kind of, if somebody goes out there with this climbing rate, you think, oh my God, what's happening? But that was all I had in the tank. And it's actually kind of like where all other people I know who go up there without oxygen are similar. And I had the whole summit to myself, nobody else there. I rested there or I sit down. Resting is like not really the right term actually, because you're just so exhausted and just sitting there takes energy. And I enjoyed that view, tried to soak it all in for around 6 minutes. And then I started my descent, and I really tried to stay focused and sharp and concentrated, because I know that's where always people make mistakes, and it's so easy to make mistakes on the descent. But luckily I got into base camp, like one night more I spent in camp 3 on the way down. And then actually I felt the pressure kind of going off my shoulders, and I was relieved to have pulled that off. And for me, it was really even better because I know now that this concept of a layering system on my feet absolutely work. And I can't wait to spin that idea even to different heights, if you want to say so. It can't go any more higher than this, obviously, but heights of like what we have in the kind of idea and process for the next round of this concept. So I hope with that, I kind of, gave you a small and brief insight in my kind of experience with the Torre Egger mainly. But please, like, if you have any questions, write it in the chats down. We get 2 questions now, and then obviously you can always, hit me later with any questions. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's see if we have any question. The overgators, they work really nice with the fabric we use there. And you can't kind of almost put a hole with your other crampon in, so that works really well. Well, the biggest challenge it's the mental one. This is really, especially on Everest, that you try to be absolutely focused on what you are doing and not being distracted of all the other people, what they do, because you do a different sport there without oxygen, without Sherpa. And that was sometimes really difficult, that I tried to stay in my kind of, like focus area. And the socks I used were the Lens heating socks. Well, the short video from the summit, I think you will find that either on my links, and otherwise I will connect with TNF here and let's see if they can get it out for you. Oh my God, now we're getting like almost so many questions. I think, I don't know if the time is right. So just the last one. Yes, I used the Crackstone for the approach. I really like that. It's almost my kind of go-to traveling until base camp. Like if I start here in Europe, I go in the plane with the Crackstone because it's so nice, comfortable, light and breezy. And I can walk with it all the way to the base camp. And the backpack was around 10 to 12 kilo up to the last camp, and above was almost nothing inside. Still felt heavy. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot, David. And enjoy the rest of your summer. And I'm really, really looking forward to all the next projects for you coming up. So for all of you who listened, please also keep in touch with David, follow him, what he's doing in his next expeditions, and just check out what our athletes are doing with our stuff on their feet, or of course with our apparel and equipment as well. So now, before we close the session, I know we are already at like 6, but I still want to say like 5 more minutes. If any questions on the boots and on the concepts are still up there. So please put your questions in the chat now, and we will answer them together with Francois and with our product manager, Alberto, who's on the call as well.
Okay, wait, nothing yet. Okay, what about the drop of the shoes, especially the Cragstone, because the trail runners are very interested in that.
All right, so we have a question coming up about the drop of the shoes, and especially the Cragstone, because it's so infused by the trail running.
So yeah, it was infused by trail running, but it's still targeting guys that will climb, that will be out in the mountain. So we didn't went for something too extreme. So the drop today is about 8, and it's still something very low profile, very close to the ground, very minimalist. So it's not adapted for long run, it's not adapted for super high technical trail running stuff, but it's super good for everything you will do on the vertical world.
And regarding the other shoes, so also like the mountaineering versions, is there like any thought about like drop?
No, here it's something very classical, flat, because you need the use of the crampons. So we are on classic bottom unit constructions, yeah.
Okay, over boots, are they sold separately?
Yeah. No, so we expected this question. So today the overboot, they are super extreme, and they are only made custom here at the workshop for athletes for the expedition. So it's not something that will be out in the stores for the moment. Then obviously we're listening to the trends and to people if they're interested in it, but today it's not part of the kit that you will see on the stores.
And the liner boots, are they sold separately?
The liner are sold only by box for the Torre Jaeger pack, so you cannot buy one liner on each. Yeah.
Okay. Just wait. Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing else. You guys want to sing a song?
All right, if we so we can have one last question. So if somebody wants to speak up now.
Can you clarify the marketing dates, please?
Right, I got a question by the marketing manager. So the marketing dates, just for you, so on the 15th of September, we're gonna have a soft launch. So the products will be available, there are the marketing tools available. And on the 20th of October, we have the proper marketing launch in EMEA. So yeah, you can really expect to see a lot of great marketing materials coming up at that time.
Francois, what was your favorite boot to design?
So today the boot we really like, for me personally, would be the Kayesh. I think bringing this low-cut construction to the market is something very new and very exciting. I'm a huge fan of the low-cut. It's bringing a lot of agility, climbing facility, and then implement it into the Torre Jaeger still with the safety of the strap. I think it would be one of the main benefits we want to bring to the market, and the one I'm the most excited with.
Very good.
Cool. All right. Then thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching. And of course, thanks a lot for your work, Francois. This range is amazing, and I'm pretty sure that everyone who has been on the call today will have a lot of fun with it, either testing it themselves or selling them, buying them. Yeah, I don't know what you're going to do with it, but thanks a lot for this great session. It's always great to be here at All Triangles. And of course, thanks a lot to the guys behind the camera. So thanks, Neil and Rodrigue. And of course, to Spain, David. Always a pleasure. So yeah, thanks for this great session. I hope you all enjoyed it. This had been recorded, so we will share that with you as well. So whenever you want to come back and revisit something, please do. For everything else, you got the Explorer tech support or the tnf.com website. You will find what you need, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I will see you soon again. We got a few more university dates coming up. So stay focused and yeah, never stop exploring. Bye, guys.
Bye.